phones, bathtubs, toilets, anything that we use in our house today is mined, with the exception of very little biofuels, etc. Plastic is mined, ceramic, porcelain, drywall, the thing that is holding up this building. So if it's not grown, it's mined. Unfortunately, mining is a dwindling industry in this country for government precautions, safety hazards, etc. And this country was built on mining. And I'm going to tell you some reasons why domestic mining should be supported more than it is today. And among most of the important reasons are job creation, safety, regulations, and environmental concerns. According to WPR and government statistics, job growth in the private sector has grown in the past 9 months. But right now we're stuck in neutral. And a way that we can boost ourselves out of this is through mining. Because for every miner employed, 2.5 other jobs are created. Whether it be in the service industry or safety consultants, cleaners for the person's house who's making a lot of money in the mine, you know, it could go anywhere. And this is according to David Miller, a local geologist. In an economy like we have today, we want to take any of the jobs we can get, and mining is a great way to get everybody involved, from miners who work underground or in an open pit mine, and engineers and geologists and truck drivers and surveyors. The list goes on, and it goes over a wide range of people, from PhDs to a high school diploma, you know, and we have all of those people right where we live today. So we want to take all the job opportunities we can get in this country, in this state. And another issue that people are always concerned about with mining is the safety, especially, it's made the news lately, but in West Virginia a couple of years ago, 29 people died in a mine accident. Less than 1 week later, a mine in China had an accident, and 172 missing people were never recovered. And this story didn't even make the news in China. They don't care that these 172 expendable workers are just gone. Their families are left alone, and I mean, that it was never even reported to the news. And this is according to my note card over here. This is according to guardian.co.uk, which looks at safety issues across the world. The same company in West Virginia, recently, I'm sure you've all heard, I heard via NPR, in West Virginia was recently shut down for the first time in 30 years. A government's always been able to do this, but this is the first mine that's ever been shut down due to safety regulations because they don't want their employees getting hurt. This is something that probably would never happen in China, since that mine that killed 172 people is still operational. If you disagree with domestic mining, all that's happening is the government sending the jobs overseas to where their people are not cared for, and accidents can't even make the news. Another concern I know we're all concerned about, even myself, is the environment. It's in quite the state these days, and at my job, I work at a geologist and engineer's office that is trying to mine uranium in the gas hills. And I hear them bickering about the DEQ and Lander, and having the appropriate fences for the deer and the antelope, and they can't mine where the sage grouse mate. And I hear them bickering about it, but in the end, it's really what makes the difference between domestic mining and overseas mining is because we care about these things. They're doing a fine job taking care of our environment, the DEQ is, and we really appreciate what they do. In Kazakhstan, just to put this in perspective for all of you, in Kazakhstan, in situ mining, which is taking the product right out of the ground instead of open pit, a plume of pollution produced cannot reach a town, and that's all it says. That's all that's in the regulations. A plume of pollution should not be able to reach the town. Nothing is ever said about reclamation to clean up the land where they were, because a mine's not going to be there forever. They have to move on, or they have to do something else. And there's absolutely no plans for reclamation in these countries. Whereas in the US, before you can even have a mine, you have to have a weather station for at least 2 years, monitoring the wind speed, rainfall, pretty much anything you can think of that goes into a weather station. Also, monitor wells are drilled to monitor the water quality before, during, and after the mine, just to make sure the people that live in that area, for example, in the gas hills where my company is trying to mine uranium, they've just been drilling all these monitor wells so that the people in Jeffrey City and surrounding farms don't, like 5 years after the mine disappears, come back to the government and say, something's wrong with my water, like, I'm having it tested, you need to pay for this, and I'm going to sue you. So those people are kept safe. And it takes a minimum of 2 years to do those things. Of all these pros that I've mentioned about mining, granted there are some cons, but it still takes tens of years to submit an application to have a mine, just because of all the research that needs to go into it. And we're talking about the US here. And a minimum of 2 years, but more reasonably 5 to 10 years for review. And literally, I've heard stories about the guys I work with delivering their mine applications in a semi-truck. There's so much paperwork that goes into this, and so many people, and so many things that have to be done, when really all we're doing is sending those jobs overseas because we need these commodities for everything we use. Everything we use. And we're letting our fellow citizens of the world, not just the United States because we're not all that matters, our fellow citizens of the world living in these horrific conditions, trying to feed their families in truly unsafe places. So if you like your cell phones and your pencils and your ink and your computers and climbing harnesses and chalk bags, and you prefer America to be a self-sustaining country, domestic mining might be the answer. Thank you.
Right on.
Good job.
Thanks. And I hope I didn't want to cross anybody's